Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into the AFE Factory. It's always appreciated. So a little while ago, someone asked me if I would do a demonstration on how I do sort of the rusting effects that I get. So I don't normally do this type of thing, so you'll have to bear with me a bit. But this is essentially what I do and what I've done recently. So I did buy this AK set. I'm not saying you have to buy this specific set to be able to achieve a rusty effect, but you are going to need some of the colours that are in this set, and you know, the more you have, or the more tones and colours you have, the more tonal variation you can get into your rust. Because there's probably nothing else that compares to rust that has such a um, big spectrum of colours, from really dark, almost virtually black, right up to very bright orangey yellow. So I've got my sponge here and just a little blob of each of these different colours. I'm going to do this Mouse 1500 litre fuel tank, which I was going to put on the E100, and it just didn't get done. So making this video is now going to spur me on to get this finished, and then I can add it onto that E100, which is already done and dusted. So what I will do is I will just start with the dark brown, just and just to begin with, just start splodging that on. This is rust, so it's very random, and with the sponge you start off getting um, heavy areas, and then as the paint pulls off the sponge, that starts to fade out. So I'm going to add some of this, which is the whole red, just a little bit. What happens as you go on, this center area starts to pick up all the colors and all the different paints. I would always also recommend that if you are wanting to do some rust finishes, um, have a look online at some photographs of some rusty stuff, old excavators and that type of thing, lorries, anything that's been left out, and you'll be able to see that, as I said, some things rust different colours and to different extents than other bits. Like the sort of the thinner tin parts will rust through and be of a different colour than, say, something like a dozer bucket or an excavator bucket. So you've basically got there the brown and the hull red. So that's pretty uniform at the moment, colour wise. Come on, focus. There we go. So I'm going to jump right over to this one over here, which is the light rust. A little tiny bit on the sponge. Get that mixed in also with the other two colours. You can see how that's already mixing with those. And then if we start adding this on here, just in various places. And as I said, um, you will find that it will change because of the amount of paint that's on the sponge. They're going to focus. There we go. So you can already start to see there's a bit of depth there now. You've got three colours on there. Let's bring in something else. So let's bring in this one, which is the medium rust. And the joy with this is you can, go back over. Doesn't matter if you look at it and think, oh, I've made a bit of a mistake, that there's too much of the whole red in there, or it's too dark, or because you can just carry on adding to it. It's not like, oh, once you've got a coat on there, that's done, so I must get this right. There's It's very forgiving. So add a little bit of that one, which is the orange brown. And as you can see now, in the centre of this lid, you're starting to get a real sort of amalgamation of the colours. Every time I add paint into the middle from the sponge, it mixes in that colour, and the sponge then changes, and then you get something different every time. If you're regularly doing this small amounts, you will then start to get a lot of the the differences that you want. So with this, for example, you would tend to get dark rust underneath the main sort of back colour, the rear colour, if you will. And then on top of that, you start to build up, and the lighter colours are on the outside, because that area is still receiving weather, if that makes sense. So if the barrel had been, let's say this had been in a field for 10 years, it would have rusted and stayed, and the depth of the rust would be dark. And as you come out to the outer layers, which is still continually getting, rain, frost, snow, sun, you'll get the different changes. The lighter colours will be on the outer surface. So I'm just going to get a little bit of the darker. Add that in. That's too light on that for me anyway, round where the support is there. So I'm just going to go over that and darken that down. And as you can see, where the sponge isn't getting up against these edges on the barrel, I'll go back round with that with a small brush and just stipple into those areas. But as I say, you can do this and put it to one side, come back at and look at it in the morning, and you'll be able to say, oh yeah, I'm not overly happy with that, or I want to change that bit, and you just keep adding layers onto it. So it's something that's easy to learn and quite difficult to make a bad job of it. If I show you, because I've got it sat next to me, just pop that in there. This is the mouse that I'm working on, which has got the rust. So you can see the different colours or different tones that are in there. And what I found with this, interestingly enough, is once I'd done it, it um, it was too uniform. So it was basically had quite a one tone effect, which wasn't very realistic. I didn't think so. So I just went over this with the darkest colour, the chipping. They call it chocolate chipping brown, dark brown, and just sporadically added some more of that in, and suddenly that not only did that give that dark effect, but it also made the colours behind it sort of it brightened those up. So you've got patches here, whereas once that was all pretty much one tone, just that little bit of dark added in. And what I did with the E100, which is upstairs in a display cabinet, so I can't get that, but I'd done some rust on the top surface of the chassis, and I wanted to make it look like it had been burnt. So what I did there was I got some black, and again very lightly went over it with some black, and the same with some white. That gave the effect that the steel was rusty because it got burnt. As you know, with if you see a crashed car that's caught fire, um, the the metal just burns away and instantly rusts. I find also, while I'm talking about these sponge, is quite a dense sponge. It's still one of those ones with a green um, thing on the top for scrubbing, but it's not like this very fine foam which you will get if you buy a pack of cheap scourers. It's a more, as you can see, it looks like cheese. And for doing this stippling, I find that that is better. That might just be a personal thing. You might not be able to get hold of those sponges, but have a try, see what you can. It's all trial and error. See what you come up with. You might see what I've been doing here, and then think that, oh yeah, I can see what he's done. I'm going to do that, but I'm just going to do it slightly differently. Or nice to keep the sponge, either the sponge or the item moving as well, so you don't get uniformity with the marks that you're leaving behind. But just have fun. Don't be frightened of it. Just have fun with it. As I say, you can't really go wrong because um, you can amend it and make changes to it. It's not like you're fighting time and you've got to get it done before it's dry or it's drying on you and you're panicking. It doesn't matter. Do a little bit, come back, have a look, decide that you want it different, um, so on and so forth. You can see that how that is there. That's quite dark. I can bring that up again. The top here I've done. That's much lighter. You can still see the grey through it. See there. That's a good example of one thing that's try and avoid over pressure when you're dabbing it, because you just get these blobs, which is it's completely fixable. It's not a problem, but it's best to try and be as delicate as you can. You're just trying to lay that paint on, and that's the idea with the sponge as well, because you're almost, as well as putting paint on, you're adding texture in there. So it goes more towards sort of, you're fooling the eye really. You're making it look much more textured, as rust tends to be, and that's done A, because you're putting different colours in there. You've got that tonal range, and then B, because you're not being not spraying it or painting it very carefully, you're splodging it on there. That adds to the effect, and it just it tricks the eye into thinking that it's rougher than it actually is. So, put a little bit of this light rust in there. See, this paint is now starting to dry in there, and it's not actually a bad thing, because as you're adding to the paint, and now all I can feel is just that it's sticky. The paint is pretty much dry. It's pretty much drying straight away on there. So yeah, you can see that's different to that which I've just achieved with just using different quantities and mixing them in different ways. So I hope that is beneficial to people. I hope you can take something away from this and do some rusting yourself. And as I say, so yeah, I mean, I think that's quite a good example just of what you can achieve. Quite dark, and then more of a lighter rust. Um, so yeah, I'll leave that there. It's nearly 16 minutes. I don't want to make this too long a video, um, but have a crack of yourself. Buy this kit, this set if you want to. It's a good set, but it's not necessary. You could do this with. Um, you could probably get away with almost half this and get a half decent rust finish. But I hope that's useful to you. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you think it's a good idea or you like the idea. Then just let me know. And equally, if you think there's an easier or better way, then please let me know, because I'm always happy to learn as well. So I'll leave that for now, and I'll catch up with you all soon. Cheers.